Well, students, welcome back. In our next lesson today, we are talking about trigonometry, and we are looking at the ratios and finding measures of the sides. So what is geometry? Geometry is the study of triangle measurement. Triangle measurement. So if each acute angle of a right triangle, whoops, wrong thing. Choose the highlighter. If each acute angle of a right triangle has the following trigonometric ratios, then sine, S-I-N-E, the sine is the ratio of the leg opposite the angle to the hypotenuse. Now let's back up just for a second. Understand, when we're talking about opposite, we're always talking about across. So if I'm looking here at my angle C, that is a right angle. The side across or opposite of that right angle will always be the hypotenuse. Now, depending on if we're referencing angle A or angle B, will depend on our opposite or adjacent legs. So now, sine. Sine here is the ratio of the leg opposite the angle to the hypotenuse. So if we are looking at our drawing here, we know that this is always the hypotenuse. In reference to angle A, side CB is opposite and side AC is adjacent. So if we want to write the ratio here for sine A would be A over C. Now for sine B, we have to change our viewpoint. Our viewpoint now becomes, if we're looking at B here, our viewpoint now is opposite, adjacent. So for sine B, we're going to say that B is opposite and C is the hypotenuse, which gives us the sine ratio. And we're going to go about doing the same thing for cosine and tangent. Okay? So now, the hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. So now the cosine, looking at cosine is the ratio of the leg adjacent, meaning the one touching the angle, and the hypotenuse. So here, if we're looking at the cosine of A, here's A, so the cosine would be adjacent B over hypotenuse C. So then if we wanted to look at the cosine of B, we're going to say A over C. And lastly, the tangent ratio. Tangent ratio. We're looking at the ratio of the leg opposite the angle to the leg adjacent to the angle. So for tangent of A, we would have, so go to A, we go opposite over adjacent. So we're going to say A over B. And the tangent of B would be opposite over adjacent. So B over A. So let's step back and look at these for a second. Notice in our ratios that the sine of A equals the cosine of B. The sine of B is equal to the cosine of A. And that tangent of A, tangent of B are reciprocals of each other. So keep that in mind as we go through. All right, so remember, here's the easy way to remember our trigonometric functions. SOHCAHTOA. No, not speaking some other crazy language. Okay? SOHCAHTOA. 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 Some people will call it SOHCAHTOA. That's supposed to be an A. What does that mean? That means that the sine is opposite over hypotenuse. It means the cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And the tangent is the opposite over adjacent. Okay? Now, if you have trouble spelling that, SOHCAHTOA, just remember that some old hippie caught another hippie tripping on acid. Yes, you heard me. Some old hippie caught another hippie tripping on acid.